Hi, so today we're going to be building a family style home. So get comfy and let's get started. So the main inspiration behind this home came from the fact that I've been building mainly homes for single sims. So I wanted to do a home that could be used for a family and that was still large enough that you could also have family gatherings over the holidays. I found the design for this home while scrolling through Pinterest, which is something that I do very often to try to find inspiration. It is a Spanish style revival home, and being from the Northeast, we don't really have these styles of homes out here that much. So I was really fascinated by the architecture and the details that people have put into these homes, and I wanted to try to emulate that and see if I could do this style, which is something that I've never actually done before. So one of the things that I was noticing a lot with these homes was that they had a enclosed patio porch area. So I kind of wanted to make sure that this home had that as well. And I tried different styles of trying to bring that together. And so right now I'm just mainly working on getting all the windows together and all of the little details for the outside of the house that are adjusted over time, just so that I can get an idea of what the overall style or the overall look of the house will be. And now I'm getting started with landscaping. I'm going around making sure that there's dirt pathing under all of the house. I think it's really important to do that. It gives the home a little bit of a detail so it doesn't look like it's just sitting on flat grass. Now I'm going through and picking out all of the flowers and trees and shrubs that I'm going to be using for this build. One of the tips that I can say if you're new to building or you're new to doing landscaping is to try and pick about 4 to 5 or maybe 6 different kinds of plants and shrubs that you're going to use. And that way you're not overwhelmed and that they all go together, and just use those constantly. It just makes it feel more put together. Another thing that I also really like to do when designing the landscaping is to try and match as much as possible to what the surrounding neighborhood has. it makes it feel like it belongs in the neighborhood that it's in. And don't forget to always put a dirt path underneath your trees. They don't just grow out of the grass. So I decided to fix the front entrance a little bit just to give it a little bit more oomph. So I extended the stairs and put in the arch that doesn't have a fence. So now I'm trying to find the fence for the backyard because I wanted to make sure that they had a backyard space, but I also wanted to include fencing so that it wasn't just an open backyard. And I really wanted to use that fence gate, and we will use it eventually, but it just didn't fit on the side of the house like that, so I put it facing the street. And now I'm going through and doing the landscaping on the side of the house, making sure that everything is consistent to keep the style together. And just finishing up the landscaping along the other side of the house. Even though it's like right on the edge, I wanted to make sure that they had landscaping throughout the house. So these are debug plants, and sometimes they're a little bit tricky to work with. So I had to pull one over to make copies because for some reason it wouldn't let me copy them from one that was right next to it. I don't know why. We don't question the game, we just work with what we got. So I went in and I looked at the front of the house, and I really just didn't like how that roof piece was laying. So I decided to add in another gamble, I think the roof style is called, roof piece. And I feel like it looks much better like this. If the roof style is not correct, please don't sue me. So now I'm going in and just trying to add a few more little details to bring the house alive, per se. And so now we're moving into the interior portion of the home. This was based off of an old, like, 1950s or 40s style home, and generally in those homes they didn't have an open style floor plan. So I made a little modification and made made the kitchen and the dining room an open concept style. And I really wanted to go for the old style countertops and cabinetry to still make the home feel like it's older, and that maybe they just opened up one of the walls in the house. And I really wanted a large island, just because I feel like it's so nice to have when you're cooking around and your family can sit there and talk to you, or you can cook with your family, especially like during like holiday celebrations. I always remember, for me, that was one of the highlights, was being in the kitchen with my grandma while she was cooking, like Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. Like, you got to lick the bowl and everything. So I really wanted to bring that into this build. So now that we have the basic overall layout of the kitchen done, I'm going in and adding the little extras that make it feel more like home. And you can't have a family home without a washer and dryer. I don't generally tend to use the washer and dryer in most of my builds, but I felt like it really fit the style of the home, especially since it's a family home. I thought that it would go well. So I'm just going in and adding a little more details just to make sure that the house looks lived in, that people actually use this kitchen, and, you know, that it's an actual home. I did unfortunately had to get rid of the bowl and the little chopping block that's over there in the corner by the stove. I didn't realize that even though they're debug items, that they actually go bad. And when I was testing the home, it spoiled and everybody was really mad in the kitchen. So I had to get rid of that stuff. So now I'm starting to work. I think I start working on the actual dining room. I put in the doorways to go into the living room and into the hallway. And I really like this dining room set that I picked out. It still feels, it's a modern, but at the same time it still has an older feel to it. And I'm just trying to decorate and fill in some pieces. Now eventually this entrance into the home gets changed because I didn't really like that they were coming into the dining room and kitchen. So I changed that out. And as we go along, you'll see that I have an obsession with the Blooming Rooms kit. I really love plants. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily have a green thumb. Again, I have to bring up my grandma, but she always had plants in her house. And it always felt like a jungle in her living room, at least when I was little. Unfortunately, I did not get her green thumb. But that's okay because now my Sims can have all the wonderful plants that they want. So now we're getting started on the living room. And again, this for me is when I start getting a feel of the family of who would live here. And I really like these furniture pieces. So I started thinking, really colorful people that, were a little eccentric, kind of, in a sense. So it's a lot of match pieces of furniture, things that don't necessarily go together, some things that might look a little bit older. And again, I'm using more plants, always plants. And since this is a smaller home, I decided to put the office space in the living room. That way the whole family can be together in one room, whether they're working on stuff or watching television. And I did say I was addicted to plants, so more plants. did unfortunately eventually take out that little knitting basket. It was the only thing I had in the build for nifty knitting, and it just didn't make sense to have that one item, so I had to remove it. But overall, the living room stays the same. As you can see, this is when I start changing the entrance and put the entrance into the living room. That just made a lot more sense to me. And I really wanted to use that stereo, but it just didn't work out. So I put that one on the bookshelf over there. Unfortunately, when I was testing, it didn't work. So I just put another stereo there. So don't worry, they have space to dance and listen to music. And with the change in the entrance, I decided to also go ahead and change the windows to match the front of the house. So now we get started on the bedrooms and bathrooms in the house. So this was probably one of the hardest bathrooms for me to do, which is odd because in my last speed build, I did a really tiny bathroom, which seemed a lot easier. But because I was trying to fit in enough room for kids as well, it made it a little bit more difficult. Like, I wanted to make sure that they had enough room to actually use the bathtub, to be able to give if they have a toddler in the house, that they're able to give the toddler a bath. So I eventually make the room smaller because I just wasn't happy with how the tub looked. I wanted it to be flush against both sides of the wall. And so I'm going in now, putting in little details again, just to make sure that the house looks lived in, that there are, people actually using these rooms with little knickknacks. That, to me, makes a house a home. So I really enjoy that part of the building process. If I could have more clutter, if we had a kit that was just full of clutter, I would be so happy. I would buy 5 kits if they were just all clutter. Now we get started on the kids' room, and I wasn't really quite sure what I was gonna do. I hadn't used bunk beds before, so this is my first time using them, and they are now my new favorite object in the game. Once you start getting into the personal rooms, the bedroom spaces, that's when, you really start to get a feel for who lives here, who these people are. And I really like the kids' room, especially because it's for a kid or a teen and a toddler. And trying to fit two personalities in one room can often be hard. I am an only child, but my best friend is actually she has 3 or 4 siblings. She's gonna kill me because I can't remember how many siblings she has right now. But they all shared a room at one point. So it's difficult trying to fit all those personalities into one room. So it was always great going to her house because she always did crazy things to her room. And I kind of wanted to try to bring that out in this room as well. That's the second or third time I tried to use those pillows and they didn't work. I swear one day I'm going to use those in a build because I love the idea of those pillows, and I just haven't found a place to use them yet. So now I'm just going in again, trying to fill in the house with knickknacks and little things to make it feel more like a home. I wanted to make sure that if you had a toddler and either a teen or a child in this room, that both of them were represented. It's probably more for a child and a toddler than a teen and a toddler, but you can easily change things out to make it fit to whatever family you decide to move in here. So now I'm getting to work on the parent space. I wanted to look elegant, but still kind of eclectic to fit the rest of the house. I didn't want it to be too fancy. I also was trying to use some of the new objects from the decorator pack, but I just didn't like how it looked. The space was just a little bit too small going into their master bedroom, so I opted to just put in a closet. So I'm just trying to go in and add some details to the room just to make it a little bit more cozy. I did eventually add in the dresser from the home decorating pack, which I really liked. And my signature flowers are in the room as always. Just trying to add a few details to the dresser. Again, I really love clutter and I wish we had more. I was trying to get that little plant to work, but I couldn't get it to work. I think I got rid of it at the end. Or it might still be there. So one of my goals, oh no, see, I changed it out. I thought so. So one of my goals with most of my builds is to try to make sure that the rooms are all coherent, so that the colors all kind of go together. So that's what I was doing, just making sure all of the colors matched. So now we're moving into the master bath, sorry. And I really like the idea of a freestanding bathtub in the master bath. It's a dream of mine to have that one day. I don't have it right now. So I really wanted to give the parents a luxurious bathroom, but I still managed to keep it rather simple, but it still looks elegant. And of course, they have their dual sinks, which is very important if you're doing a master bath, I think. So I'm going in and adding in my little details just to make it look more lived in, trying to find, things that go together but still make the room look elegant and, nice. Adding in more plants as always. You have to have your plants. And I really like that piece of artwork because it ties the master bedroom into the master bath. So now I get started on the backyard. And I must say that this is actually my favorite space of the whole build. So I'm going in and adding in all of the little details to outline the landscaping. I really wanted something that was more like organic in nature and that wasn't really defined. So I went to go for like a wavy shape where all the flowers and the flower beds were located. I'm just trying to make sure that all of the bushes kind of flow into the S shape that I made, or the curvy shape rather that I made. And I also decided to make the bushes a little bit smaller so that you can actually see the landscaping in the backyard. So now I'm going in and adding all the plants. Again, my main tip is to try to match the flowers that are in the neighborhood. So as you can see, all of the flowers that I use in this section of the house are mainly from the flowers that are right outside the home. I did add a few little elements that aren't in the neighborhood, but just small ones, just little pops of color here and there. So now I'm going in and placing lighting around, and I made it nighttime just so I can make sure that it looks cohesive. So I had to make sure to add in a barbecue because you can't have a really nice backyard and not have a barbecue. So I wanted to go and make sure that that was in the backyard for them. I also wanted to add in a few little gardening places. Nothing, not too much, just, a little thing so you can maybe grow some, like maybe some small vegetables or herbs. And I put in some toys for the kids. And I found a little rabbit, so I decided to stick him in the flowers. Just a little peekaboo show for you. I also put out a place for, for people to lounge when they're outside. And I added in a lemon tree because you can't live in Oasis Springs and not have a lemon tree. And that is the build. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you're having an amazing day wherever you are. You can find this build up in the gallery under my origin ID, which is Ready Pixel 1. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing.